Have you ever found yourself in situations where you think, if only I had known that would happen, I would have done things differently? When you reflect on these moments, don't you detect a hint of hindsight bias and regret about not being able to predict the future? If you could turn back time 20 years, wouldn't you wonder, could I have been the one to found a revolutionary tech company like Amazon or Google? Or at least join their founding teams for some equity? Or perhaps, if you had known how property values would skyrocket in major cities like New York, San Francisco, or London, wouldn't you have borrowed every penny possible to invest in real estate? Then you wouldn't have to work so hard today. If you've seen the popular movie About Time, where the protagonist can travel back in time, haven't you fantasized about using future knowledge to transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary? Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder or running your own business, the ability to see and shape the future would be an invaluable superpower. While life isn't a movie and none of us have supernatural abilities to precisely predict the future, this book will help you quickly discover pathways and methods to understand what's coming next. In America, there's someone who claims to have mastered the secret of predicting the future. Your first reaction might be skepticism, but his track record of concrete achievements across various fields speaks for itself. This visionary is Daniel Burrus, the author of this book. He's a renowned American futurist who has spent over 3 decades studying technological trends and their business applications. His organization, Burrus Research Associates, is a globally recognized forecasting institution that has made hundreds of accurate predictions. For instance, in 1983, he predicted that the 1990s would bring a digital revolution, and indeed, mobile phones, digital cameras, and email became ubiquitous by the late 90s. In 1984, he predicted that human genetic sequencing would be achieved by 2000, and sure enough, in June 2000, President Clinton and Prime Minister Blair jointly announced the draft of the Human Genome Code. Even more impressively, he's not just a theoretical futurist, he's been a behind-the-scenes advisor to Fortune 500 companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM, while also founding 6 successful companies himself. In 2009, during America's worst economic recession since the Great Depression, Daniel, who had never received any formal business training, decided to put his principles of future prediction to the test. He started a company called Defined Space Applications to prove his concepts worked. While writing this book, he applied these principles to everything from company positioning and customer need identification to market selection, pricing strategy, and marketing expansion. Within just 8 months, the company was profitable. The book's co-author, John David Mann, is a veteran writer with 25 years of experience crafting business bestsellers. Daniel provided the groundbreaking content, while John ensured it was presented in an engaging, flowing narrative. This perfect blend of substance and style helped the book quickly become a #1 bestseller on the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Amazon, earning widespread acclaim from America's business elite. I'll admit that before reading this book, I was skeptical about the possibility of predicting the future. It seemed like wishful thinking. But Daniel argues that all changes follow patterns, and we understand more about the future than we realize. We just need to know where to look. This book won't give you supernatural powers of precise prediction, but it offers a fresh perspective on viewing the world, what we might call foresight. It's a thinking capability that helps you distinguish between what will inevitably happen and what might possibly happen. This is a skill that can be developed and strengthened, providing you with quick paths and methods to understand the future, make better decisions in the present, and take proactive action. Rather than being blindly controlled by the unknown, you can learn this skill of anticipating opportunities and make better decisions than most people. To put it plainly, what seems mystical about predicting the future has been transformed into a discipline by experts like Daniel, supported by rigorous scientific validation and independent logic. Once you master this anticipatory thinking skill, you can see the invisible and achieve the impossible. Just like in Star Wars, once you master the Force, your perception of reality reaches a whole new level. The 3 steps to master the future. Daniel presents 7 principles in his book that can trigger your foresight. These are the results of his 20-plus years of systematic research and application. While incredibly valuable, 7 principles might be a bit overwhelming, so I've consolidated them into 3 essential steps. First, seeing the invisible. Second, achieving the impossible. And third, directing your future. Let's explore each one. Step 1. Seeing the invisible. No matter how rapidly our world changes, there are always certainties within the uncertainties. To see the future, the most crucial skill is finding patterns in uncertainty, identifying what's certain. Daniel provides a key method, distinguishing between hard trends and soft trends. For example, will you be 10 years older a decade from now? That's a hard trend. But whether your health will be better, worse, or the same as today can't be determined with certainty. That's a soft trend because you can influence it. When we heard that artificial intelligence AlphaGo defeated world champion Lee Sedol, we could determine that AI would increasingly replace humans in various fields. That's a hard trend. But exactly when AI will become widespread and which fields it will prioritize, those are soft trends. In essence, hard trends are inevitable future certainties, like the changing of seasons, tides, or technological progress. We can find obvious certainties in these patterns. Soft trends are possibilities, future variables that we can influence. Finding hard trends helps us discover the future, while identifying soft trends enables us to shape it. Here's a striking example from the book. In 1993, Daniel gave a speech at the American Booksellers Association convention. In front of over 10,000 booksellers, he predicted, within 2 to 3 years, virtual bookstores will emerge online, revolutionizing how people buy books. Everyone thought he was crazy. Most people hadn't even seen the internet yet, and web browsers were still in development. 1 year after that speech, a company called Cadabra was founded. A year later, it launched an online bookstore and later renamed itself Amazon. 4 years later, its founder Jeff Bezos appeared on the cover of Time magazine as Person of the Year. That's the power of foresight and execution. The emergence of online bookstores was a hard trend. You might wonder if there are patterns to help identify hard trends. Indeed, Daniel summarized 8 laws of technological evolution that are invaluable for spotting clear hard trends. 1. Dematerialization. 2. Virtualization. 3. Mobilization. 4. Intelligence. 5. Networking. 6. Interactivity. 7. Globalization. 8. Convergence. Let me illustrate these with examples. Over thousands of years, text evolved from stone tablets to paper to digital documents. That's dematerialization. Using software to simulate reality, like nuclear explosion simulations or virtual stores, represents virtualization. Our increasing use of mobile phones and tablets for anywhere, anytime information access exemplifies mobilization. Imagine driving when your car's voice system announces your rear tire pressure is low, and the GPS tells you there's a gas station with an air pump 3 miles ahead. This integration of sensors and networks for artificial intelligence, from smartphones to smart buildings, demonstrates product intelligence. Today's real-time interconnection between people, devices, and information systems illustrates networking. The evolution from passive content consumption to interactive social media platforms, from simple TV viewing to audience participation shows interactivity. Real-time access to global events and international business collaboration represents globalization. When smartphones combine phone, camera, music, and mapping functions, or when bookstores integrate cafes and restaurants, creating synergistic effects, that's convergence. You can probably find many examples of these 8 laws in your daily life. E-commerce, virtual reality, fintech, robotics, all evolving along these patterns. Once you grasp these hard trends, you'll discover how many future developments you can predict. This is the first step, seeing the invisible. How should this guide our actions? The key is to seize hard trends. They represent obvious future opportunities. As Daniel says, what's possible will be achieved. If you don't do it, someone else will. You've probably experienced this. Many times, others succeeded with ideas you'd considered but abandoned due to uncertainty or risk aversion. When you spot a hard trend that will definitely happen, you can shift from reactive to proactive thinking and take action before the trend arrives, gaining first-mover advantage. Look at Jeff Bezos. He became one of today's most successful entrepreneurs because of his unmatched foresight. 25 years ago, he saw the hard trend of e-commerce. Today, he sees space exploration and artificial intelligence as the next frontiers. He consistently anticipates opportunities, taking action and positioning himself before others even realize what's coming. If you regret missing opportunities like the internet or e-commerce boom, Why not use Daniel's methods to uncover opportunities in your field for the next decade or two? Of course, while some succeed by seeing the future, others fail by missing it. Step 2. Achieving the impossible. How do we achieve what seems impossible? Daniel presents 3 action principles for enhancing foresight. 1. Transform. 2. Skip your current problems and think inversely. 3. Redefine and create. In simple terms, you need to fully recognize that our world is undergoing revolutionary changes due to technological explosion. The power of foresight means jumping past immediate problems, using counterintuitive reverse thinking to find real problems and solutions, thereby discovering your core advantages and redefining your value and products. Let's explore some examples to make this clearer. The book discusses how both businesses and individuals often change incrementally. Take the music industry's evolution from vinyl records to cassettes to CDs. Companies like Sony and Warner thrived on these transitions. However, under the hard trends of advancing bandwidth, computing power, and storage capabilities, they remained too dependent on their physical product sales model, overlooking the development of virtual music. Meanwhile, a company that industry experts had written off saw this trend and successively launched the iPod digital music player and iTunes online music store. From being dismissed as unrealistic with no future by experts and giants, to becoming America's largest music retailer in less than 7 years. You've probably guessed this company was Apple. When the iPod launched in 2001, the MP3 player market was only worth $50 million. 5 years later, the market exceeded $2 billion in sales, with iPod shipping 250 million units. This exemplifies the significance of foresight and innovation, meeting consumer needs they haven't even discovered yet, needs they can't articulate. This is the secret to building an enduring company. The transition of music media from physical to virtual perfectly aligned with the laws of technological dematerialization, mobilization, and networking. When technological revolution ushers in a new era, traditional success formulas of even the most successful companies fundamentally shake. Whether for companies or individuals, merely being bigger, stronger, faster, or higher. Improvements based on patching the status quo isn't enough. You need to do something fundamentally different, like upgrading to an entirely new operating system. Incremental change is destined to fail. You need transformation, fundamental transformation. This is our first action principle, transform. Consider how Facebook evolved from desktop to mobile first, then to virtual and augmented reality investments. If Mark Zuckerberg hadn't transformed Facebook into a mobile-centric platform when smartphones emerged, perhaps another social network would have dominated today. Looking ahead to the AR/VR era, will Facebook maintain its leadership? Such disruption can be both sudden and dramatic. The book shares another classic case about Eli Lilly, a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company that developed insulin and penicillin. In 2001, they faced their biggest crisis. Their best-selling antidepressant Prozac was losing patent protection, while their next-generation drug faced major research challenges. Their stock dropped 30% in one day, evaporating $36 billion in value. The research problems required at least 1,000 more researchers to solve, but they lacked the funds. Most people would think their problem is just lack of money, right? But think carefully. Is it really? If we skip past the money issue, you'll see Eli Lilly's real problem was solving drug development. How did they resolve it? They boldly created a global online science forum, offering bounties for their research challenges worldwide. By leveraging global scientific resources, they solved their development problems both quickly and cost-effectively. Often in life and work, the most obvious problems aren't the real ones. Just as with Eli Lilly, what appeared to be a financial problem was actually a drug development challenge. Even the smartest people can only get wrong answers if they're asking the wrong questions. Try breaking free from old thinking habits, think out of the box, or think different to uncover the real problems behind the problems. To grasp the future and achieve the impossible, you must first change your thinking patterns, which will bring entirely new solutions and creativity. This is our second action principle. Skip your current problems and think inversely. Redefining value and directing your future. The author shares a remarkable story about his friend Lillian, a real estate agent who, along with her husband, achieved $500 million in sales in just 1 year. selling ordinary houses. To put this in perspective, even if every house sold for $2 million, they would need to close 250 deals, averaging nearly one sale every day or two. Yet they accomplished this seemingly impossible feat. Their success secret was something anyone could theoretically do. They were the first real estate agents in America to create individual web pages for their clients' properties. These pages featured not just room photos, but views from windows and landscape imagery. For better client communication during property viewings, they purchased a London taxicab. Why? Because its rear seats face each other, enabling better face-to-face conversations while driving between properties. After closing deals, they offered free moving assistance, evaluated nearby schools, helped with children's enrollment, and even handled small details like cleaning and dental referrals. Sounds simple, right? But without genuine passion and dedication, it's impossible to create such extraordinary customer experiences through countless details. As a client, wouldn't you want to refer more customers to them? Instead of settling for being ordinary agents, they leveraged their strengths to redefine and create an entirely new real estate service model. This is the secret to becoming unbeatable, our third action principle: redefine and create. Consider how Spotify redefined music consumption, or how Airbnb revolutionized accommodation. They didn't just improve existing models, they fundamentally reimagined their industries. When you apply fresh perspectives to redefine and revolutionize things, you can achieve what others consider impossible. Step 3. Directing your future. Finally, we reach the most crucial step: directing your future. This is an overarching principle of foresight. If you don't direct your own future, someone else will direct it for you. During his global speaking engagements, Daniel noticed a common issue among audiences. Whether teachers, nurses, managers, or CEOs, everyone spent their days handling urgent situations. Like spinning tops, they were constantly reactive, barely finding time to consider the meaning of their actions or their connection to future value. Do you often find yourself in similar situations? You can try stopping to ask yourself, what are my current problems? What problems will I face in weeks, months, or years from now? By actively thinking about your future, you can prepare in advance rather than waiting until problems arise, then regretting or reactively responding while overwhelmed. Daniel introduces an important method called future vision. Try projecting yourself into the future, then looking back at your current position. This is key to developing foresight. Unlike goals, plans, ambitions, or wishes, future vision isn't just a hoped-for direction but your actual expectation and unique positioning for the future. Everyone has some vision of the future in their mind, clear or vague, though you may never have tried to clarify its details. This reminds me of what Stephen Covey, the renowned American management expert, mentioned in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said everything is created twice. First in your mind, mental creation, then in reality, physical creation. Without good mental creation, physical creation becomes difficult. Your future stems from your inner vision of it. Daniel conducted an interesting experiment, applying this principle to struggling middle school students. On his first day teaching, he wrote an annex to each student's grade card. For children accustomed to disrespect and distrust, this was a revolutionary experience. Instead of starting them at low grades, they began with high scores, with the implicit belief that each student was inherently capable unless they chose to prove otherwise through lack of effort. This unexpected approach triggered the children's innate self-respect. No one wants to be considered incapable. By semester's end, these former D and F students showed remarkable improvement, many earning A's, with even the lowest achieving BS or CS. Sometimes in life, we face situations where we want to spend more time with family but get constantly interrupted by urgent work matters. Daniel suggests this can be changed by clarifying what's truly important for your future and reprioritizing everything in your life accordingly. He recommends a practical method called the Tomorrow Lab. It requires dedicating 1 hour weekly. During this time, disconnect from all possible distractions, phones, computers, and daily concerns like utility bills or childcare. Instead, imagine your future. Continuously visualize what you want your future to look like. With persistent practice, you'll gradually see the near future more clearly. Once you recognize future certainties, your subconscious will continuously work to strengthen your predictive abilities, developing your foresight. This helps break free from reactive cycles and gain control over your life and work, ultimately directing your own future. Conclusion: the 3 steps to master the future. First, see the invisible. Identify hard trends to gain insight into opportunities. Use the 8 patterns to predict what will happen tomorrow and the day after, then take action to stay ahead. Second, achieve the impossible. Solving today's problems and preventing their deterioration isn't enough. You need to look beyond immediate issues, use reverse thinking to find real problems, then redefine your value based on your core strengths to create solutions. Third, actively direct your future. No one wants to live reactively. Establish your future vision, plan ahead, and influence the future proactively. These principles of understanding the future aren't just theoretical. They're practical tools for anyone seeking to shape their destiny. Whether you're an entrepreneur, investor, or professional, these insights can help you develop the foresight to see opportunities others miss and the courage to act on them. The greatest value of this book may be in showing that foresight isn't just for visionaries and legends. It's a skill any dedicated person can develop. Once you possess foresight, you gain the power to direct your own future.